Hello viewers. Well, this week I'm at the GT Academy Finals, where we're going to be at Silverstone racetrack, seeing the competitors being put through their paces physically, mentally and with their driving skills as well. Today we're at Rockingham. We're going to be seeing them jumping into these single-seaters as the judges assess their ability in all range of motorsport and activities and related activities as well. It's under pressure action. I've been enjoying every minute of it. Let's take a look and see what it's all about. So first it was off to Silverstone to find out where the Nismo athletes, the contenders, the wannabes were staying, to see what conditions they'd set up. And they built this temporary complex. This was called the Snooze Box, and as you can see, these are actually shipping containers that each contain 2 beds inside there, which was really comfortable for the guys, as well as their own bathrooms. Really nicely decked out in just a small area, and almost temporary setup. And here we have another temporary building. This is the Snooze Box. And this is where the many racers would come and have something to eat and share their experiences. There was even a Gran Turismo pod in there somewhere to compete before we were off to Rockingham. And this was a first opportunity for many of the contenders to have a feel for what it's like in an open wheel racing car. This was a very straightforward setup round the giant oval, just to give them a feeling of the cars at speed. Obviously they've never been in these cars before, they've never experienced them, and also I think it's worth pointing out that these guys are not racing drivers, they're gamers. A few weeks ago they were playing Gran Turismo, and now they're here getting into the real thing and adjusting to that in every way. So it's a lot for these guys to take on board, and a really exciting experience for them. I can imagine the anticipation. I suppose it's like anything really, getting to a car like this, and you can feel that anticipation before you go off. This is what it's all about. This is real racing, and I'm a big fan myself of open wheel in particular. And I wanted to just have a wander around and share. Of course, they've been under a lot of pressure. This is one of the more fun events. They've done a lot of physical training, PR training, driver training. But first, it's time to talk to Jan Mardenborough and find out more from him on what it's been like to be a GT Academy mentor. Hello viewers, well, I'm joined here again today by Jan Mardenborough. Jan, I suppose a different role for you now. It's not about the racing for yourself, it's about being a mentor. Tell me about that experience so far. How's it been for you?
It's been different. It's definitely you're sitting on the other side of the fence, so to speak, and you get to see what goes on behind the scenes, the logistics side of things for one, and how the guys how their mind frame is more a lot of the time. You get to see them in their own environments when they're not doing anything, and then you get to sit with them in car and see how they progress over the day. So it's really interesting to see, and a lot goes on in that time. And I mean, when I did it, it was just full on all the time. I was so tired after every day, just completely drained. And these guys are so tired as well. So I'm like, wow, they're pushing them a lot.
Working hard. You're seeing a side now with the judges and what they have to work with, and you're seeing things from a completely different perspective now. What would you say has been the thing that's sort of highlighted to you most? So
yesterday we had to eliminate a third contender for everyone had to eliminate a third contender, but we had to eliminate one from Team GB, and it was one of these. It was easier to do because we eliminated, they were going head to head, so the bottom 2 guys out of the 4 would go head to head, and the winner of that would go through, and the loser would go out. So it was just a test of speed and who can handle the pressure, and that was relatively good in that way to do it like that. But the first 2 we had to eliminate. We had to look at the data, look at each previous result and event, and see how much they've improved. Look at their benchmark and say, okay, he's improved this amount, and he's fast at the start, but he's sort of plateaued a little bit there, and it was really difficult to do. And you have to look at the guys who's going to progress in the future. If they're not progressing now, are they going to do it in a few days' time? And it's difficult. We have to go through a lot, and a lot of the time we disagree, the judging wise, but we agreed on these 2. So it is tough, and a lot of we get the instructors involved as well, that they actually sit in car with them, and we get their feedback and think and how they're handling the wheel, how they're handling the car. Are they taking on instruction? Are they being arrogant? Are they not aggressive enough? And a lot of different variables come into consideration, and it's hard. It's difficult to do.
I can imagine. I suppose, you meet some of these guys, really nice guys. They really want to be racing drivers. You have a life-changing decision in your hands, and it's but are they really cut out for it? Are they cut out for everything involved in motorsport? And it's several parts, isn't it? It's the PR side, the interviews, it's the constant fitness, and it's the learning and everything, and it's a whole package. And I should imagine that is difficult for you guys to put together. But yeah, no, thanks for your time, and we're going to see how the competitors get on.
Excellent, cheers.
So another insightful chat there with Jan about the other perspective in terms of judging the racing drivers and seeing how he was judged as well, the different pressures that come with the judges, the difficult decisions they have to make, but also the data that they rely on besides their own personal judgment on how the contenders are getting on. Meanwhile, the racers were going round there, building up speed on the oval, and a good experience for them, I'm sure. Great fun was had. This was more for the fun than anything else, just to have a feel in the car. And you can see they're actually getting some speed as they were building up behind the safety cars, which were driven by the professionals. Of course, meanwhile, there's the photography going on, all that professional photography you see in the world of Gran Turismo taking place there. That photographer was lying down absolutely everywhere. I think whenever I saw him, he was lying somewhere behind a car taking his photos, and you'll see much of that was released by Sony over recent weeks. As you can see there, the car's preparing another round of races to go out, and this was going on throughout the morning. So good fun was had by all. Insightful from Jan, and we'll find out more in part 2 about the training. A bit of fun for the journalists as well as some insight from Johnny Herbert, the judge of the GT Academy 2013.